Imagine breaking the internet with a single basketball highlight, millions of views, instant fame, and everyone calling you the next big thing. That's exactly what happened to these high school stars who became overnight sensations for all the right reasons. But here's the brutal truth about viral basketball fame. What goes up fast can come crashing down even faster. From shoplifting scandals that killed NBA dreams to legal troubles that turned million-dollar contracts into prison sentences, these players learned that social media stardom doesn't always guarantee success. So what really happened when the camera stopped rolling and reality hit? I dug deep into their stories, and what I discovered will shock you. Let's start with the player whose last name alone was supposed to guarantee greatness, LiAngelo Ball. While his siblings Lonzo and LaMelo both became NBA stars, LiAngelo's path would take a completely different turn. With a former basketball player as his father, he was raised to be a superstar. In his senior year at Chino Hills, he dropped a school record 72 points in a single game and averaged 33 points per game when he was a senior in high school, despite being the leading scorer on one of the country's top teams. LiAngelo entered college basketball as just a 3-star recruit. In 2016, he signed to play for the UCLA Bruins, but his college career was shorter than anyone expected. During a preseason international tour in China, LiAngelo and 2 UCLA teammates were arrested for shoplifting from a Louis Vuitton store.
3 UCLA basketball players, including a younger brother of NBA rookie Lonzo Ball, have been questioned in China over shoplifting allegations.
The situation escalated into an international incident, with LiAngelo facing up to 10 years in a Chinese prison. It took President Trump's personal intervention to secure their release. After UCLA suspended him indefinitely, LiAngelo's basketball journey became a series of false starts. He and LaMelo went to play professionally in Lithuania's LKL League, where LiAngelo averaged 12.6 points and 2.7 rebounds per game. When he declared for the 2018 NBA draft, his name wasn't called on draft night. So his father LeVar then created the Junior Basketball Association, where LiAngelo averaged 50 points per game, won league MVP, and led his team to the championship. But the league ended after 1 season. LiAngelo's attempts to reach the NBA continued with mixed results. He signed a G League contract with the Oklahoma City Blue but never played a single game. He later joined the Detroit Pistons but was cut before hitting the floor. His best opportunity came in 2021 when the Charlotte Hornets invited him to NBA Summer League. This felt like his moment to shine alongside his brother LaMelo, but the results were underwhelming. LiAngelo averaged just 4.7 points per game, and the Hornets ultimately cut him. Even Lonzo, his biggest supporter, had to admit, "I think his path is overseas." Here's the plot twist nobody saw coming. LiAngelo completely reinvented himself as a rapper under the name Jello. His transformation has been remarkable, even landing on the cover of XXL magazine as an up-and-coming star. His debut song, Tweaker, has garnered over 20 million YouTube views and secured him a massive $13 million deal with Universal Music Group. His recent collaboration with Glorilla has already racked up over 5 million views in just 3 months. From being an internationally disgraced basketball player to an up-and-coming rap sensation, LiAngelo Ball managed to turn things around in the most unexpected way possible. While LiAngelo found success by bending corners and swerving into different lanes, our next player became famous so young that the pressure might have been too much to handle. While most 11-year-olds were mastering headshots in Call of Duty, Julian Newman was dropping bombs on the basketball court. Picture this, a 5th grader casually putting up 91 points in a single game like it was a Tuesday morning warm-up. His dad, who doubled as his coach, looked at that performance and made a decision that would change everything. Straight to varsity, no pit stops. The numbers were absolutely bonkers. By his junior year, Julian had shattered the 3,500 point barrier and etched his name in the history books as the youngest player to hit 1,000 varsity points. His crossover compilation videos weren't just going viral, they were breaking the internet, racking up millions of views faster than you could say ankle breaker. Talk show hosts couldn't get enough of him. Steve Harvey, Conan, Julian was the golden child of basketball, the pint-sized prodigy everyone wanted to meet. Then reality crashed the party like an uninvited guest. here's the brutal truth nobody wanted to say out loud. Being 5 feet 7 inches and 120 pounds in a sport built for giants. College scouts weren't just looking for highlights, and they wanted size, they wanted maturity, they wanted players who could elevate their teammates. Julian's swagger, which looked so cool in YouTube compilations, translated to attitude problems in the eyes of serious programs. Years of being the chosen one, of having plays drawn up specifically for him by his own father, had created a player who thrived in the spotlight but struggled to share it. Fast forward to today, and Julian's story looks completely different. He's carved out his own lane in the digital world, running pickup games, competing in influencer sports leagues that span everything from basketball to dodgeball to boxing matches. His Instagram boasts over 1 million followers. His YouTube channel sits at 11,000 subscribers, and he's found a way to monetize his basketball fame in ways the traditional path never would have allowed. The NBA dream, that ship has sailed. But Julian Newman's story isn't really about failure. It's about what happens when internet fame collides with the real-world expectations, and how sometimes the path you don't choose ends up choosing you. Speaking of players who had to overcome doubters, our next player used his viral moment to prove that heart matters more than height. Meechi Terry became an overnight sensation for all the right reasons. The 6-foot defensive-oriented guard earned his viral moment when he trash-talked and then completely locked down LaMelo Ball during a high school game. But Terry's path to that moment was anything but glamorous. Because of his George Jefferson-style haircut, he was known around the courts as Bald Head. After losing his hair young, he battled constant doubts about his age and watched college scouts pass him by. When his shot at a Minnesota prep school crumbled over housing complications, Terry's reality became unclear. Days grinding at the gym, nights sleeping in a homeless shelter. That grind, though, it was building something special. Terry's relentless dedication finally opened doors, first to DME Academy in Florida, where he dominated, then to the phone call that changed everything, a Division I offer from Cleveland State in 2020. Terry brought that same intensity to everything. His hustle on the court made him indispensable to Cleveland State, while his focus in the classroom earned him Dean's List honors as a freshman. Now boasting over 100K Instagram followers, he's transformed that viral moment into something bigger, a beacon for anyone fighting their way up from rock bottom. Terry proved that persistence can rewrite your story, but our next player faced a different kind of battle, one where heart and hustle weren't enough to overcome what nature had dealt him. When you first see Robert Bobrosky on a basketball court, your brain struggles to process what you're looking at. At 7 feet 7 inches tall, he didn't just play basketball, he redefined what the sport could look like. Viral clips of him in Italy at just 15 years old showed something that seemed almost mythical. A teenager so tall that he made professional players look like children. Roberts was a sight to see, earning him a coveted spot at the elite Spire Institute. But his body told a different story entirely. Standing over 7 feet 7 inches while weighing just 180 pounds, literally the same weight as point guard Steph Curry. Even an extreme 5,000 calorie daily regimen lasting a full year barely moved the needle, adding only 10 pounds to his frame. His genetics simply refused to cooperate. Then his body began breaking down completely. A devastating back injury wiped out his senior season, followed by a scoliosis diagnosis that restricted his mobility even further. Basketball became impossible. By 2020, Robert had quietly faded from the sport. No highlights, no updates, virtually erased from the basketball landscape. But disappearing from basketball wasn't the end of Robert's story, it was a plot twist. He surfaced in the most unexpected place, Hollywood. That same distinctive physical presence that couldn't survive on the hardwood has become his ticket in entertainment, landing him acting opportunities and proving that sometimes your greatest asset isn't what you think it is. Robert discovered his true stage was never the basketball court, but our next player had all the tools to dominate until his choices became his biggest opponent. Mikey Williams wasn't just another talented kid, he was basketball royalty in the making. Training alongside LeBron James through his friendship with Bronny, Mikey was already being crowned the nation's top 14-year-old, even outranking Bronny in the process. The hype was so real that he hit 1 million Instagram followers before stepping foot on a high school court. Then he backed up every bit of that hype. As a San Isidro freshman, Mikey exploded for 77 points in a single game and cruised to a 30-point average for the season. His combination of elite play and social media savvy built him a following that rivaled college stars. Puma came calling with a groundbreaking high school sneaker deal, and his NIL value skyrocketed to $3.6 million. March 2023 changed everything in an instant. Mikey found himself in handcuffs, facing 9 felony charges, including assault with a deadly weapon, after allegedly firing shots at a car full of people following a heated confrontation at his home. Suddenly, that $1 million future looked like a potential 30-year prison sentence. The plea deal kept him out of prison, but the damage was catastrophic. Puma cut ties, Memphis pulled his scholarship, and now he's struggling to average 5 points per game at UCF. With 3 years of eligibility left, there's still time to rebuild, but the harsh reality is his talent alone isn't enough to make teams forget his baggage. Legal troubles have a way of erasing even the brightest futures, and our next player learned that lesson in the most devastating way possible. They called him the Crime Stopper, and that nickname wasn't just clever, it was literally true. At just 5 feet 6 inches, Acquelle Carr was so magnetic that Baltimore's crime rates actually dropped on game nights because the entire city showed up to watch him play. His lightning handles and fearless style made Patterson High School games must-see events. In 2011, Carr's legend went international, leading Team USA's U19 squad to goal while averaging a ridiculous 40 points per game. He caught the attention of Italian powerhouse Lottomatica Roma, who offered him $750,000 annually, the richest contract ever extended to a high schooler who hadn't graduated yet. But just as he was about to cash in, everything imploded. Domestic assault charges in 2012, accusations of pushing, kicking, and punching his girlfriend destroyed his reputation overnight. Even a $50,000 bond couldn't repair the damage as colleges fled from his recruitment. 2 consecutive NBA draft years came and went without his name being called. With no college safety net, Carr bounced between the Delaware 87ers and St. John Mill Rats, getting suspended by both teams for conduct issues. Today, he's grinding in amateur leagues with the Reading Rebels, a heartbreaking fall from Baltimore basketball royalty. Carr's legal troubles killed his NBA dreams before they started. But our next player actually reached the league only to face a nightmare no one saw coming. Markelle Fultz wasn't just viral, he was inevitable. The consensus #1 pick in 2017, after dominating at Washington with 23.2 points, 5.7 rebounds, and 5.9 assists per game. Philadelphia thought they found their franchise cornerstone, the final piece of the process. Instead, they got a medical mystery. Something was terribly wrong with Fultz's shooting form. What had once been smooth and reliable became completely unrecognizable. Videos of his broken jumper went viral for all the wrong reasons, creating a media circus that nobody could explain. The truth was devastating yet validating. I knew my shoulder wasn't right, but I kept playing, Fultz later revealed. Doctors couldn't figure it out initially, and that messed with my mind. The diagnosis, thoracic outlet syndrome, a rare nerve condition affecting the area between his neck and shoulder. Orlando offered a fresh start, and Fultz finally began to flourish. By 2022 to 2023, he was posting 14 points, 5.7 assists, and 3.9 rebounds per game, looking like the player everyone expected him to be. Then knee tendonitis struck, limiting him to just half the 2024 season. For the first time in his career, Fultz hit free agency in 2024. The silence was deafening. Despite being a former #1 pick, not a single team made an offer. Today, Markelle Fultz remains unemployed, a sobering reminder that even making the NBA guarantees nothing. Sometimes the weight of expectations can crush even the most talented players, as our next star learned it when viral fame hit him at just 14 years old. Seventh Woods owned the most watched high school basketball video in internet history. Over 16 million views of pure athletic poetry, a 14-year-old making the impossible look effortless, dunking on players twice his size, and redefining what seemed humanly possible. His freshman year was nothing short of spectacular. Woods averaged 19.3 points per game, claimed the Hammond Basketball Player of the Year award, and helped Team USA capture gold at the 2014 FIBA Americas tournament. As a 5-star recruit ranked in the national top 54, the sky seemed limitless. College basketball humbled him immediately. Buried on UNC's bench behind future NBA talents Joel Berry and Kobe White, Woods managed just 7.7 minutes and 2.7 points per game across 40 contests. A stress fracture in his right foot cost him 17 games the following year, and his momentum never returned. 3 years at UNC passed without Woods ever finding his role. The expected growth spurt never came, his shooting remained inconsistent, and questions about his basketball IQ persisted. Today, he's keeping his passion alive with the UCCC Demons in Ireland, admitting that some of the shots I have now would have been snatched away in college. Woods learned that viral fame can create impossible expectations, but our next player's story shows that sometimes the biggest battles are fought against your own body. Explosive high school dunks and viral moments. Zion Williamson was a human highlight reel who made high school competition look like a joke. At 6 feet 3 inches as a freshman, he was already throwing down windmills, chased down blocks, and rim-shattering alley-oops that broke the internet. His 22 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 blocks per game were just the appetizer for what was coming. By 16, Zion had transcended high school basketball entirely. Featured in Slam magazine, named to Time's Next 100 Most Influential People, and even earning a jersey shoutout from Drake. After demolishing Duke's competition, he became the inevitable #1 overall pick for New Orleans. Then his greatest asset became his biggest liability. That powerful body that had dominated teenagers started breaking down against NBA competition. Torn hamstrings, chronic soreness, weight battles, and endless setbacks followed. By 2024, Zion had missed over 60% of his professional games, incredible when healthy but rarely healthy. Now 2025 brings legal nightmares that dwarf his injury concerns, facing allegations of sexual assault, strangulation, and domestic violence, plus a media circus surrounding his alleged involvement with adult film actress Mariah Mills. With NBA executives refusing to touch players facing lawsuits, Zion's trade value has completely evaporated. Zion's story proves that physical gifts can become curses, but our final player shows that sometimes the greatest victories come from the humblest journeys. Our final story brings us full circle to a kid who simply loved the game. Jashaun Agosto became a sensation at just 10 years old when his father's training video exploded across the internet, earning national media coverage and showcasing a work ethic that seemed impossible for someone so young. Dubbed the best 11-year-old player ever, Jashaun's dedication was legendary. 4 hours daily, 7 days weekly, training with what everyone's called genuine Mamba mentality. His speed and endurance were unprecedented, with veteran coaches predicting multiple Olympic gold medals in his future. High school brought the growth spurt he needed, reaching 5'11 inches, and the success continued. Back-to-back state championships and 4-star recruit status with multiple college offers proved that his early promise was translating to real results. At Long Island University, Jashaun settled into a solid 11 points per game. He declared for the 2020 NBA draft but went undrafted due to size limitations and modest college production. Rather than chase overseas dreams, Jashaun found his true calling as a basketball trainer, helping young athletes pursue the same dreams he once chased, proving that sometimes the greatest impact comes from lifting others toward the stars you couldn't quite reach yourself.